What's up, guys? Today we're gonna make the bass from the song Talk of the Town by Fred again and Sammy Virji, and this is what it sounds like. Alright guys, so that was the sound I'll be working on today, and if you're new here, my name is Josh with the Preset Bros, and our goal here is to create the sounds that your favorite artists use so you can start using them too. Speaking of high quality sounds, we have a whole free preset pack for you down below, so definitely don't sleep on that. As always, guys, we're going to break this sound down into 3 steps. Step 1, we're going to focus on tonality. Step 2, we are going to shape the sound. And step 3, we're going to polish it off with some effects. Be sure to stick around for a bonus step, though, because it might just change your life. Also, guys, feel free to like and subscribe to the video. It really helps me out and the channel and helps me continue to bring content to you guys. Alrighty, guys, let's go ahead and jump in. Let's go ahead and hear that sound soloed really quick. So one of the coolest things about this sound, in my opinion, is that like flanger phaser effect going on, and we're gonna get to that. Kicking things off, guys, this is the sound, and like I mentioned, we're going to start with tonality, which is this oscillator section. Anytime you're building out a sound, whether you want to start with a wave table or a sample or something like that, you're going to be using this oscillator section. So we're going to start with oscillator A, and I'm using the PWM MG wavetable. I have -2 on the octave there. The wavetable position is at 29, and then the level is at the standard 75%, and that's it. Keeping it super simple, I felt like this was the wavetable to use for this sound. Next, I'm routing the sound into our filter over here, and I'm just using an MG Low 18, and the cutoff is at 86%, the res is at 31, and that is it. I know that was super short and sweet, but that really wraps up the tonality section. Not a lot going on. Let's go ahead and jump into shaping the sound. So for shaping the sound, again, pretty simple. For envelope 1, I have just the standard shape. The only thing I'm really got going on is I have the release at 677 milliseconds. Envelope 2 is where it gets a little more unique. So for that, I have a little bit of a plucky shape, 9.2 on the milliseconds there, and then the decay at 460 milliseconds, the sustain at 18%, and the release at 343 milliseconds. Again, guys, pretty simple for the shaping part, but the effects is where it starts to get interesting, so be sure to check that mono button, and let's jump into the effects. So for the effects, this is where the magic happens, if you will. I have a flanger here, and my rate is at 0.14, depth at 54%, feedback at 48, and phase at 148, and the mix is at 100%. Now, what this flanger is doing is it's kind of giving that initial unique character to the sound. So if I turn off everything, let's go ahead and listen to what we got going on. So that's pretty cool. But watch what happens when I turn on this flanger. You see how immediately just turning on that one flanger really makes it start to sound like the reference track? Let's go ahead and continue to work on it. So I also have a little bit of a compressor going on, and the threshold is at -24.2 dB. Everything else is standard. The mix knob at 100%. Next, I have an EQ, and this is further shaping that sound. I wanted a boost around the 70 hertz range. I have 42 on the Q, a boost of 4 dB right there. Next, I also have another boost happening about 500 frequencies, about 8 dB in gain right there as well. I also wanted to beef it up with a little bit of distortion. I tried a few different ones. I kind of landed on the rectify one. I have 24 on the drive and 20 on the mix knob there. I have another compressor here, and I went with a multi-band, and this is kind of adding a little bit of a crispiness to the sound as well. I just have the mix knob at 38%. And then finally, I have this flanger, and why the double flanger? Well, I don't really know how he's doing it. He might be using 1, 2, I'm not sure, but I wanted to kind of get the tonality of the sound with the first flanger, and then the second flanger, I wanted to use that more as the movement. So if I go ahead and I'll just play the song without it on. So there's a little bit of movement there, but I really wanted more. So I'm going to check this on and now listen. So that's kind of giving that movement throughout the song that I heard in the original. That pretty much wraps up the effects. Let's go ahead and jump into the bonus section. So for the bonus section, guys, I have the macros, and this is what's really making things happen. So I'm really using 3 macros here. I'm using this one, I'm using the macro, well, technically I'm using 4, but just ignore the cutoff for right now. I'm using macro 5, 6, and 7. We're just gonna start with macro 5 really quick, and let me pull that up. Let me show you what it's modulating first. So macro 5 is modulating 4 things. It's modulating the attack, the release, the decay, and then the frequency of the filter. So notice I have the attack right here, and that's being modulated by 8%, and it's increasing the attack. And if you listen to it, notice how the attack is a little more plucky. Let me pull up the modulation. Notice how the attack is more plucky right here versus it starts to get a little more like whippy. So, and it's the same here. Here's one where the attack's all the way up. So you hear how plucky that is, and then compared to this, so it's more right. And so it's just kind of increasing that attack right there. It's also pulling the decay back to make it a little more pluckier in the tail sense of things, a little shorter of a sound instead of being drawn out. And then it also eliminates any release going on. It's also modulating the cutoff here and just pulling back those frequencies to make it a little less bright. And this is my modulation overall, and it just kind of brightens up at these points, so you can listen to this. That's kind of how I heard it going in the original song. So next I have macro 6, and this is just modulating one thing, and it's modulating the flanger. And so we can go ahead and click on that, and that's modulating the phase right here, and that's what's giving it that movement of the rising and the falling. And I can show you the modulation happening there, so you can see throughout the song the rise and the fall. So I can play it and you can see it happen. That'll come back down. So that's how I kind of gave it that movement throughout the song. And then finally, I have the mix knob, or for macro 7 of the flanger as well. And the reason I have that going on is I noticed the movement doesn't really start to come in until the second part of the drop, and I didn't really want a whole lot of movement with the flanger happening in the very beginning, so I kind of tapered that off right there, so there's nothing happening in the beginning of the track, which sounds like this. So I didn't want any flanger movement there, and then the same with this first part as well. The last thing I'm doing is this cutoff knob right here, and it's pretty self-explanatory, but this is just increasing the brightness there of that cutoff, and I can show you where I have it. It's just very subtle, so you can see it's just happening right there. I can play it. This is what it sounds like when it's deactivated, and then this is activated. You can see it really just brightens up that first part of the section of the drop, and that's kind of what I was hearing in the original. Again, take this bass and go do whatever you want, make your song, do it however. I was just kind of trying to keep it close to the original for teaching purposes. Now that you have a super cool bass like this, you probably need some vocals to go on top of it. Check out this video to see how you can generate royalty-free vocals in less than 10 minutes. Peace!